and welcome to the Gaming Hall of Rivalries. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, and with me, Curtis Scism. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well.
And welcome to, I like to say, part 2 of this show. The first half has been very, I want to say it's very, I don't want to say very challenging. It was more of just learning a lot from these characters that we did know and didn't know. Like, I learned a lot from, Nathan Drake to Tomb Raider with Lara Croft. I learned a lot of new stuff from Toad and Moogles, that. Curtis, what did you learn a lot about? Like, what do you think that you came off of this? What did you think you learned?
It's very fun doing research on franchises I never really got to play. When we did the Sam Fisher episode, I never played any of the Splinter Cell games, and it was just neat hearing all the facts about Sam Fisher. Mm-hmm. That episode I covered Solid Snake, and having to do research in a genre that I've only played one game in that franchise was Metal Gear Solid, and just seeing, man, Snake had a big life after
Right. But for people that are just jumping in, because all these episodes, what's so cool about it is you can jump anywhere you want and you won't be behind because they're basically their own episodes. I mean, their own thing, each one. But Game Hall Rivalries is very simple. What we do is we pick two characters that rival each other in the gaming industry. Like, like Mario and Sonic, that exists. Princess and Zelda, that exists. Those are episode 1 and 2. You definitely check out. And we talk about what makes them clash against each other. Not so much battle to the fight. That's not important. To us, what's important is what they did to affect the industry. What did they do that made them shine? And then we also look at the future of these characters. Like, what do we see these characters? Are they still going to keep going? Are they going to die off? Or, we just want to see what our vision is for that. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about the two biggest villains, I believe, of all time, especially in the 90s. You couldn't walk away without remembering these two characters because they were the enemies of the two main biggest characters in the 90s, of Mario and Sonic. And that's Bowser and Dr. Robotnik. And so Curtis will be taking us first with Bowser, and then I will follow through with the part 2 with Dr. Robotnik. So Curtis, take it away, buddy.
What's interesting about Bowser is the name translation of his name was originally as King Koopa. Mm-hmm. Bowser first appeared in 1985 in the Super Mario Brothers game. Looking at his history, it's really interesting because the Nintendo or Shigeru Miyamoto, they were going to name him one of 3 names. It was either Koopa, Yuko, or Binba. By Binba. All 3 of them are Korean dishes, which are named in Japanese, and they ended up going with Koopa.
So, a question. Okay, so before Koopa, what out of those 3 names would you accept if those are like your choices? Like, okay, these are 3. Which one would you want?
Oh man, Koopa just has a ring to it, especially when when you already named off the villain type of the Koopas, the Koopa Troopas. Mm-hmm. I mean, you would have a King Koopa,
right?
You would need, and he looks like one too. Mm-hmm. The other fascinating thing that I found out was in the original box art done by Shigeru Miyamoto for Mario Brothers. He wanted to hire a manga artist to do the cover for it.
Okay.
But there were deadlines, they needed to rush it out, so he actually did it himself. And the original artwork, you can Google it for the Famicom. Bowser had no horns, he had a turtle shell, and he was gray-skinned.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah, I remember seeing that picture. Yeah, that's like a little bit really, really hardcore. They really want him to be like very, very fearful.
Punk, yeah. He had if you look it up on your phone, he has these thick black eyebrows, sharp teeth, of course, and this yellow almost this mohawk pulled back. After the release of Mario Brothers, Nintendo hired Yoichi Kotabe, and he was tasked with doing redesigns of the characters.
So they just didn't like that look. They were like, too scary or something?
Well, originally Miyamoto wanted someone else to do the artwork.
Oh, okay.
But because of the deadlines.
Oh, okay.
And another man at Nintendo, Takashi Tezuka, he actually suggested he should be more of like a turtle, more green, because he is Koopa. And that's, if you play Mario Brothers now, he actually is green instead of the gray skin, and that's his current date portrayal now is green, red hair, horns.
And I know a lot of people are probably like, listening to the show or even know gaming, but like me as a kid, I thought like all enemies were called Koopas, but like only the turtle base are probably the only Koopas. So like Goombas are not Koopas, they're just Goombas. And so, but I remember calling everything just Koopas. Did you have that mindset too when you were younger, or did you kind of like, I know what Koopas are, I knew what
Goombas and Koopas were. Did not know about what the fish actually had names.
Okay.
Did not know that the bullet had was bullet bills.
Right.
I just knew them as the annoying little black thing trying to kill
But
Mario.
you never thought they were just a set of a category called Koopas?
Right.
Okay. Okay. All right.
The other thing which is really interesting about Bowser is he is, without doubt, the primary antagonist for so many years to Mario. And what I found was interesting was it took to the Super Nintendo Super Mario RPG was the first time ever that he actually allied with Mario.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you look at the cover art, it's just Mario. There's Bowser in his castle. It's like, okay, here we go, going at Bowser again. And I was at UCO, going through the commons area, and I had a friend named Melody. She would hook her systems up, her retro systems up to the TV in the commons area. And I walked by and I see Bowser in the turn-based turnstile standing in line with Mario. I was like, what? No, that's not right. She had to explain the story to me of the Mario RPG. And it's really cool seeing Bowser actually be on the side of Mario for once.
Well, someone took his spot. And he's like, I want my spot back, man. Exactly. He was like, I'll help you. And then after that, we're not friends anymore.
The other notable game I found where Bowser breaks the mode of being the villain, unintentionally, by the way, was Bowser's Inside Story.
Yes, that's for the DS.
The DS.
Yep.
To sum up the story, the villain of the game is actually a thing called Fawful. He tricks Bowser into eating this mushroom, and Bowser ends up digesting and sucking up everyone in the Mushroom Kingdom. Princess Peach, Mario, and Luigi. So he thinks he's high on the castle. He's like, I finally got rid of Mario, but there's this other guy. I got to take him out.
Right.
And the gameplay shifts between Bowser at his full size, and then inside of Bowser, you play as Mario and Luigi, who kind of help him defeat the bad guy.
Right. Okay.
Fawful.
Okay.
And it's also the first time that Princess Peach actually sends Bowser a cake for saving the mushroom. Yes, Bowser saves the Mushroom Kingdom.
Right. Did you ever thought that they would ever have to work together, or they would be in that kind of situation? Did you ever imagine that when you were little, or you thought like, he's always going to be the bad guy?
When I was little, after Super Mario World, I was like, oh, there's no way. Okay. Especially after 64, I was like, there's no way he's ever going to be the good guy.
Right. Have you had a chance to play Bowser Inside?
I have not.
No? Okay. Okay. I have it. I need to start playing it. I like the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga series. They're really creative because, because of the 7-Star Saga, everybody in the world wants a sequel to that. But because of that, Square Enix had the rights for certain characters. They had to end up doing a spin-off, breaking them both. That's why you have the spiritual successors to Paper Mario and Superstar Saga. So it's so interesting that maybe one day we'll get a Superstar Saga. One day, maybe on the Switch. That'd be kind of cool.
I would like it in the future to see another Bowser-centric title. That would be fun. Toad got one, which was very good. Princess Peach had Super Princess Peach for the DS, which was another really good game.
I talked about this back in the day when I on the podcast The Gamer Stand, when we had this idea of it'd be kind of cool if they went to more of like a RTS, a real-time strategy game, but like Bowser controlling his minions, and we get a backstory of how he slowly took over like the kingdom, You know,
Yes.
that'd be kind of cool, him controlling like all the Koopas, and we see this family. I always thought that'd be kind of a cool strategy.
You'd have different classes.
Yeah.
Goombas would be the foot soldiers.
Yeah, I think that'd just be so cool. And you could even make that would be great for like, you know, to relate with like with StarCraft, you know, all those kind of games. They can do it. That'd be so cool. And so, because you can even add the kids and all that stuff. And so, that's just me.
Yes. No, that would be very fun.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing with Bowser, and this is what I kind of rambled on about Mario, was with each iteration, each advancement in the Nintendo systems, he did more. He was more threatening. The first game, what did he do? Shoot fireballs across the stage.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to get there, and he'd move left to right.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'd later jump in the
Right.
stage. You'd still have to get to the axe.
Mm-hmm.
And it got real in Super Mario World. He had his vehicle, the spinning top,
Mm-hmm.
and the movement just fighting Bowser. He's not holding still anymore. He's not shooting fire. He is moving. He's trying to crush you. He's throwing things at you.
Mm-hmm.
Complete game changer.
It feels like that through the Mario games is what Bowser doesn't think works, he goes bigger. Because like you said, like in the first games, like each level he would shoot fireballs, next he would throw hammers at you, next he would throw a bunch of other stuff at you. Even like before you even get to him, fireballs are already coming at you and all this stuff. And then we go to Super Mario 3 where it's like, okay, if I can't do this, then I'm just going to try to smash you myself. So he just, you know, jump in the air and try to smash you down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in World, he would do that. And then in 64, it was more like,
you
I'm
had
going to isolate you.
It was amazing. And the first time I ever saw a Bowser fight in Super Mario 64, you actually got to go mano-a-mano in this 3D environment against Bowser. It was really cool.
It was cool because like the fact that you actually got to see how big Bowser was.
Yes.
And you were very small to him. And the cool part too was like he would keep you isolated. Like you're not gonna have room to run around this time. I'm gonna have the bigger of this, and you're gonna have to figure out how you're gonna defeat me. And of course, spoiler, you know, the tail was the weakness.
The tail was the weakness.
Yeah. And even that was hard. Even a big guy, you would think it'd be easy to get around. But yeah, we're slowly just seeing him just come up with crazy ideas. Even like in 3D World. I mean, there was a level where he is driving a car and you have to chase him down. He's throwing bombs at you. Like he's always thinking bigger and more ridiculous than the last time that he does stuff. And so, and even in Superstar Saga, where one of his special moves is he brings one of those little clampers to come across the screen and stomp on everybody. He just has a crazy thing. That's why he's like one of my favorite villains of all time.
Yes.
And so, another thing too I like about Bowser is the mysterious of where the kids came from and where does he get these armies of people coming from? Like, how does these enemies get created? Like, does he has like kind of machinery that does it? Does he create them himself? You know, what is your theory on that? What do you think?
I really never thought.
I know.
about
I'm sorry to
that.
put you on the spot like that, but it's just always kind of curious because we always played those games and we just accept what it is. Like,
Yes.
these are enemies, but like you're always wondering, like, I defeat a lot of Koopas and Goombas, but they're still coming. What is going on?
Yeah.
And then the kids is like where does these kids come from? Like, were they adopted? We don't see those. That's what makes it so interesting because it's like a mystery to it, and they keep coming. And so, and then, you know, we're seeing, then Bowser Jr. comes out of nowhere. Like, where the heck did this come from?
Well, adding a whole third level to that, Matt Pat had a wonderful theory about why he keeps trying to kidnap Princess Peach for his son is to have a mother figure, a figure that he never had in his life.
Right.
And that is so deep. That is so mind-blowing. And it's funny to think about that because Bowser is such a one-dimensional villain. But when you add in his kid, it's like, well, this guy is actually a good influence on something and is positive. And he just wants a mother for his kid.
Right. And I'm glad, like, for instance, like Super Mario Odyssey really established, because this is the first time we actually seen Bowser trying to marry the princess.
Yes.
And that's what made it so interesting. Everybody's always had that theory, like what is the purpose of capturing Princess? Like, does he want to marry her? What is the purpose? And now I'm glad they showed, like, he really wants to marry her. It just doesn't work out for him. Mm-hmm. You know, he always fumbles at the last thing. He thinks that, like, you know, Mario can't really do anything, you know, but, you know, with the help of with the power of Toad, which if you listen to our Toad and Moogle, how Toad does these crazy things of getting these power-ups for Mario. So that's another theory on top of that. I was like, who keeps bringing these mushrooms and stuff? Like, Bowser should be going after Toad. But anyway, that's a side project. That's another thing to talk about later. But yeah, any other stuff about Bowser that you could think of?
That's about it.
Okay. But I have a question though. Was there a story that he was at one time at Ox? Was he?
Okay. So going into character design, he was. Miyamoto was heavily inspired by Journey to the West, and there was an adaptation of that. I did not write down the title, but when in his design notes for Bowser, the Ox King was a heavy influence.
Oh, okay.
In Bowser's design.
So, to you, I know regardless what the situation is, we would accept whatever they give us because, you know, we're just used of Koopa being what he is, like Bowser who he is. But would you accept it? Would that weird you out if he was an ox? Would that weird you out? Like, if we saw him as an ox right now, would that weird you out?
Yes, it would.
Okay.
Yeah, that's definitely Zelda territory with Ganondorf.
Right. And it's funny too that you mentioned King Koopa at one point, because King Koopa was something I was more familiar with than Bowser, especially from the cartoons.
Yes.
Because that's what they always call him. And I guess like it wasn't until...
Yeah, on the Super Mario Super Show, he was addressed as King Koopa.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you growing up, like, oh, that's always been King Koopa. That's always been Princess Toad. Who's Peach? Oh, who, like...
Right. Like,
okay, go ahead and name change it on me. Oh, you didn't name change it. It's a translation. Okay.
Right. And this is going to even go into part 2 because we're realizing that America likes to change the names. I guess it's easier to remember, to be more memorable. So that's why Toadstool was easy to remember because it was, you know, the Prince of Toads, and, you know, Koopa was the King of Koopas. It was just very simple for people to remember.
Yeah, regionalizing things is very fun in video games. This is a complete different offshoot. Sort of related, though. If you go back and watch Pokemon in your childhood, Ash is eating a hamburger. If you go watch back the original, that's not a hamburger. That's a friggin' egg roll. Or it's a bento box that he's eating.
Right. They really want to Americanize it, but also, too, from anything, they want to make sure the name fits what the character is, not just... It's more of what they do, not what they look like, I guess. Like you know, King Koopa, he's a King Koopas. We call him King Koopa. You know, she's a princess of Toads, Toadstool, you know. And even going here to the next half where we go into Dr. Robotnik, well, guess what he does on the other side of Dr. Eggman. But is there anything you want to do before we wrap up this part 1?
No, that's about it.
Okay. So we're going to take a break, get your mind settled, wow yourself, and then when we come back, we're going to go into part 2 where we talk about the other villain, the villain that uses more of the brain than muscle, and that's Dr. Robotnik / Eggman. We'll be right back. Hey, this is Jeremy Evans, aka your in-game boss, and I want to thank you so much for listening to this podcast as part of the In-Game Boss program, a network of gaming and other variety of these shows that you can find on Podbean, YouTube, and of course iTunes. Shows like the In-Game Boss podcast, the Gaming Hall of Rivalries, Bond Never Dies, and Area 44. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the show. And welcome to the second half of our show of the Gaming Halls of Rivalries. I'm your host, Jeremy Evans, of course, with Curtis Scism, and you were enlightened by Curtis' information about Bowser. If you have any information or fun facts, or tell us how we're doing on the show, or you know, just tell us a little about yourself and what games did you enjoy from Bowser. You know,
Absolutely.
what's your favorite Mario game? Tell us. Mine is World. Yours is probably, what is yours, Curtis? What do you think is your favorite Mario game?
My favorite Mario game is Mario Galaxy.
Mario Galaxy. So, I bet you when you play Odyssey, you might change. But
yes, that is on my bucket list to get the Switch and play.
But let us know on Facebook, on Twitter. You can always email us at theingameoffice@gmail.com. And, just let us know if you're enjoying the show or not. And we're also on Podbean. If you're listening to us on Podbean or iTunes or YouTube, those are other access. And, just let us know. We had a comment on our Princess Peach and Zelda a while back. And this guy said, I didn't know that much stuff about Peach. So it was really appreciated that he took the time and comment.
Yes.
We take every comment important because, when we're a rising network, it's good to just hear. It's always good to hear
feedback.
Yeah, it's just good to hear feedback and just hear someone respond. A response is just always a good thing, good or bad. It's just good to hear something so that it shows that, okay, someone is out there listening. So what's our second half? Well, we're going to go into more of the brains than muscle, and that is Dr. Eggman Robotnik, or Robotnik Eggman. But let's go in a little bit more about it. So the creator was created by Naoto Oshima, and he was around the time right when Sonic got started, when Sonic was getting replaced by Alex Kidd. And Alex Kidd was this little kid that looked like a little monkey or something like that, because they needed someone that was more iconic. So that's where Sonic came in. They needed someone more bad. Listen to the first episode and you'll kind of get more intels of how Sonic was created. And so Dr. Robotnik was considered like a mad scientist, right? And he was mad because he thinks he's so smart that he can do anything he wants. He was just like, if I can do it, I'm going to do it. I don't care what anybody says. Who can stop me? I'm the smartest man in the world, kind of thing. And so that just made him go crazy. So crazy that when you play a Sonic game, when you're defeating those enemies, you're actually rescuing woodland friends, because he turns these creatures into machinery, these little bad guys. And that blew my mind when I was little, because when you play a Sonic game, your goal is really just to run past everything and just make it to the end, right? It's like a Mario game on adrenaline. And so, but when you hit an enemy, you might not notice that a little creature pops up and just walks away. It wasn't until Sonic 3, I want to believe, where you actually free a bunch of little woodland friends in a little capsule hatch or something like that. So they really want you to know, you are doing something. You are rescuing these things that, Robotnik did. And of course, there is a story that Robotnik did make Sonic what he is today. A machinery went wrong, and that's how he turned blue, and he had the red shoes. Some contraption messed up, and that's how he got his speed. And we've seen this, that he affect tails too, hence why he has two tails. He had to corrupt his Knuckles. That's why he has the big Knuckles. He corrupted him to go against Sonic. So he's just so crazy that I believe, in my theory, is that Sonic is the mistake that Robotnik messed up, and he's trying to take care of it.
And correct.
Yep. Yeah. He just I need to destroy this. This is an experiment. I messed up. Because of this, I can't go on with my life. And so that's very interesting to see about that. When they were creating this character, there were a couple things they were looking for. So one, they needed someone the opposite of Sonic. So when you think, Curtis, the opposite of Sonic, what do you think what they meant by that? What is your theory on that? What do you think when they said, I want to make characters opposite of Sonic?
So something not cool, something not the. You look at Sonic and you just have to smile. That's a cool guy. That's the guy I want to hang around. Or no. And you look at Robotnik, you're like, man, that is an angry guy.
Right.
He has this wild mustache. He has these beady red eyes.
Mm-hmm. I look at it also as they needed someone that's slow.
Yes.
The opposite of Sonic. Slow, fat.
Overweight. Yep.
And someone that thinks a lot. Because Sonic doesn't think. No. I'm not saying he's an idiot, but he's more of I'm fast, I can get it done in a second. But Robotnik's more I'm not fast. I'm not that cool. what can I do?
Sonic was very go with the flow. Robotnik's very meticulous.
And so another one is they wanted someone to represent machinery and development to play on a growing debate between developers and environmentalists. So that's an interesting thing, because if you think about it, is, you know, when you're playing through the Sonic games, as you go further in, like the first level is a great example of this world being a paradise before you slowly see everything become corrupted.
It is a good nature versus machine.
And so, and we're slowly seeing this, even from like Sonic CD, even to Sonic Mania, as you're saving these woodland friends, you are seeing stuff slowly growing back into the world. You know, you're seeing plants growing again, everything like that. But even going through the game, you start slowly seeing like trees turn like half machinery. That's how crazy it is. He can turn plants and stuff into machinery. That's insane to me. And so, yeah, so that's an interesting debate. I think that has to go with a little bit of history, going about like, you know, industries and stuff, and how like people are against, you know, pop, like industry development, pollution. You know, I think that came into this mix of how so much development can corrupt a world, and how we need to make sure that we hold on to, like, you know, the stuff that we really care about, you know, like our animals, our nature and stuff. That's a little deep. I know for you guys. It's like, Jeremy, I'm driving, man. Just don't go this deep. I'm sorry, but this is the way I thought about it. Cause I just never thought about that when I read that. I was like, environmentalist. What does that mean? It's like, I guess that's what I think they were looking at. I think they were looking at don't lose all the good things to stuff that is, you know, that's very technology and all that stuff. And so, and then the last thing was easy to draw. They wanted to be for the children that is easy to draw Eggman. And if you look at Eggman, the old school like Eggman, he's very easy to draw. Like, you know, his first concept, you know, he's just, you know, just fat and round. Like his goal was to look like an egg. So
the whole torso is an egg.
So yeah, it's just supposed to be an egg with some arms and stuff, and then like a little circle on top and everything like that. And then we start slowly seeing him, Robotnik
become more develop.
Yeah, in like even in the cartoons, you know, the Dark Sonic cartoon, you know, he had a cape, you know, and he was big. He is a big guy. He's not big as Bowser, but he's a big guy. And I think that's one of the things that connects the villains of Mario and Sonic, is the fact that we need, and that's another thing with the opposite, is we want these characters to be bigger than your main character, to be more scary.
Imposing.
Right. And you can connect it with Zelda. You can connect that with Metroid. The villains always seem to be
Punch-Out.
Big, yeah, Punch-Out. Always bigger than your main character, because it's supposed to be a triumph. And I think that's all in gaming. Even like Shadow Colossus,
Street
all this
Fighter,
stuff.
Ryu the Bison. I mean, just Sagat even.
Right. Your villains always have to be bigger and just scarier, because you feel more accomplished of conquering them. And so, so when I said Robotnik was a character that America made in the manual book of Sonic. And then in the Japanese, he was called Eggman. And there was always this debate on, like, you know, Robotnik versus Eggman, which one sounds better. And it's funny this time because Japan went totally the way we thought Americans would call him that. You know, I would think America would be calling him Eggman because he looks like an egg, right? But then again, it also sounds like Robotnik too, because he makes robots, right? So to me, I thought Robotnik just sounds cool, better to me, because Robotnik sounds like a Russian name for one, you know. And plus, I think his first name is Ivo Robotnik. So that sounds so Russian to me. And so, and then they call him, you know, Eggman over there. So, like, to you, Curtis, honestly, you know, since now later on they added Eggman to the mix, which one would you like better? Do you like Robotnik or Eggman to you?
I like Robotnik more.
Yeah, me too. I like that a lot better. But now, since 1999 with Sonic Adventure, they finally just combined the whole name together. So his name is Ivo Robotnik Eggman.
Not to be too cynical, but Eggman just sounds like a discarded Mega Man villain.
He does. I'm surprised there's not a character named Eggman yet.
I am amazed.
It'll probably come soon. Since Mega Man 11, I won't be surprised. They're going to run out of ideas. There's going to be a food bad guy name in that game. I promise. I don't care if it's Waffle Man. And so, but Yeah, it's not until 1999 for the Dreamcast Sonic Adventure is where they finally combined the whole name, just to kind of deal with the debate. Like, okay, his full name's all here. Let's leave it alone. Let's move on. And no one has said anything ever since. And so, but before I go into the next part, I do want to talk about some of my favorite contractions that Robotnik has made. Like, we've seen a lot of machineries. We have seen a lot of his stuff. But I really want to talk about some of my favorite things that he brought to the table. So, like, first of all, Curtis, how many Sonic games have you personally played?
3.
3. Okay.
Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic and Knuckles.
Okay. And are you including Sonic 3 in that mix of Sonic and Knuckles too? Or did you not just play Sonic 3?
Did not play Sonic 3.
Okay. And so, one of my favorite things was it's even the first one. It was like my favorite one because it was so simple. But in Sonic 1, I love the part where he brings the machinery out and it's just a ball and chain.
Yep.
It was simple, but I really liked that a lot because it kind of gave you the foundation of, where you're supposed to hit them, how you're supposed to dodge. It wasn't until later on when we got to Sonic 2, one of my favorite fights is in Chemical Plant where he brings out this contraction where he's just trying to pour this liquid on you. Still simple, but you kind of understand that this is weird. Now, it wasn't until Sonic CD, which Sonic CD is my favorite Sonic out of all of them. I'm not counting Sonic Mania because that's a little combination of everything. But one of my favorite ones is, there's a lot of them, is this one where it's not so much of hitting him in the head a bunch of times. It was about outsmarting him, and that's where Sonic CD shine. So there's this one level where you're running on this grid, and he's on this machinery that's also on the grid, and your goal is to run as fast as you can, and the faster you run, his thing starts getting grind up until it destroys, and that's how you beat him. It's instead of like hit him in the head a bunch of times, and he'll throw stuff at you, but your goal is just to try to run as fast as you can, dodging all this stuff while you're running, and he just slowly just grinds up, and then he has to run away. And I thought, like, that's awesome because that's unexpected.
So different than any Mario boss fight.
Exactly, and it was just so unexpected to
time.
me. Yeah. And also too about Sonic CD was just I think those are his top things because somehow he managed to make you go from the past and the future. I don't think Sonic can do that without Robotnik being affected by it. Like, he made something for him to go that fast. I'm going to go through the past. I'm going to go through the future. If you ever never play Sonic CD, guys, play that game. That's a very, very interesting game because it was them experimenting, but to me, it's like one of the best ones. So, moving on. How smart is Robotnik? I guess that's the question we're always wondering. Like, this guy's goal is to conquer all the land to make a Robotnik empire. And it's funny too because like that's where you have the stage called Death Egg. That's like you're at his headquarters where he's finally like you're seeing how all this stuff kind of developed. Yet we still never get to see how. That's another thing too. How come in those Eggman worlds that when we go to his factory, can we just see one of the little guys get turned into a robot in the background so we can kind of get an idea like, oh, that's how they're made. I'm like, that would just really help me out.
That would fill in, as dark as that is, that would fill in a lot of plot hole. That for me, that's very rewarding to see.
I'm not saying like give me a whole army of little creatures, right? Like just show me one. Like you know the whole like hear that music like dun 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 dun, and then the pod comes down, turn them into I don't care. I just want something like that, but another fun fact too is that when you see his giant round egg machine flying around, it does remind you of the Death Star, hence Death Egg. They haven't put it in there, but I'm pretty sure Star Wars were somewhere influenced in this of the giant real circle. Like, that looks like an egg. I'll do the same thing. And so, but how smart is Robotnik? Robotnik has an IQ of 300.
Wow.
What does that mean? Well, let me give you guys something to enlighten with. Stephen Hawking's IQ is 160. Albert Einstein's IQ is from 160 to 190. But they're not the highest. The highest IQ person is a guy named Terrence Tao. He is an Australian American in mathematics, and he actually holds a chair in mathematics at the University of California, and his IQ is 225 to 230.
Jeez.
So Robotnik is like a super genius. Like that makes sense why he can just make this machinery. He can probably make it in his sleep. He can probably make machines to make machines to make machines. Hence why we have a Metal Sonic. We have all this stuff, and that just blows your mind. To me, it's almost like he can just like make this stuff pop out of his head. That IQ is so smart, and so I don't know what to say about like, is that even possible in reality to have an IQ that? I think my head would explode if I had. What do you think?
An IQ for me, just going down nerdom, that's like combined of Tony Stark, Reed Richards, and Banner in a room nerding out, and Hank Pym.
Right.
And maybe they might get to that.
Right. But I haven't really done the research of like who is the smartest character in gaming, but Robotnik's going to be in that top 5, I think.
He's going to be in the argument.
Yeah. And so now going into the cartoons where I mentioned the different looks of Robotnik, there's about a couple cartoons. So you have, Sonic and Tails, the original one that was more of like a cartoon. Robotnik was
it
was a comic relief. And he looks like the character that you would play from Dr. Robotnik Mean Bean Machine, and that's one of my favorite games.
Yes,
that's one of my favorite games of all time. But that's the look
for those of you unfamiliar.
Right?
It's very similar to Dr. Mario in gameplay and aesthetics.
And you get the 2 iconic minions from the cartoon that were in that game, which their names are different from the cartoon. In the cartoon, they're called Scratch and Sniff, but in this game, they're called something else. And it always cracks me up that when I play Dr. Mean Machine, because the goal is, it's kind of like a Tetris puzzle kind of game, except, you use beans to match colors, but you're going against his minions going through this. And it always blows my mind is, why are these minions not in the original Sonic games? Like, how come I'm not facing these guys? Because these guys were cool. You had a horse robot that was so punk rock with these metal spine blades on his shoulder. I'm like, why are we not fighting that thing? But Scratch and Sniff, for people that don't know, Scratch was a chicken. He was like a tall robotic chicken, and Sniff was this power drill kind of guy. And they were the ones that would go out and do a Robotnik thing, and then Robotnik would get mad, and then Sonic and Tails go get chili dogs. And then we didn't see it until later on into the Dark series, where we see Sonic with more of his comic friends, Sally Acorn, Antoine Coyote.
There was a Robot Rabbit.
Yeah, there was a seal repairman.
The princess,
Sally.
Sally, yep.
Yeah, and we saw a darker Robotnik with his henchman Snively.
Yes,
or Snively, whatever you want to call him. And I like Snively a lot too, and then it wasn't later on until like Robotnik Experience Snively took the role, and the later ones, that's where Sonic had his 2 little friends, a pink hedgehog and a green hedgehog, and then from there, we're getting more of the modern Sonic, where if you haven't played the newer Sonic games, Sonic's wearing more of these bandages around his arms. Knuckles is like super buff, and this is a more different Robotnik at that time. And so but the cartoons I grew up were the first 2 series, and because also too the actor that played
Robotnik?
No, Sonic. The guy that played
Julia White.
Yeah, he's the person that plays Steve Urkel, or Stefan off of Family Matters. And now we're getting a Sonic movie as we speak. It won't be out by the time we say this, so you'll be ahead of the curve. But Jim Carrey's now doing a voice for Robotnik in this new one. Yeah. So, that's an interesting thing, how we're seeing these developments. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to be developed in a movie screen with Sonic and everything like that. And then my last thing on Dr. Robotnik before we kind of slowly wrap this up is basically, what is the future of Robotnik and Bowser? So let's go into that for a minute. So let's talk about Bowser first.
Early in the first segment, one point I made was, I wish Bowser would have another outing, or a Bowser-centric outing. If Nintendo did not want to do that, since they have no issue of putting Mario and Sonic together, that has clearly been shown through Smash Brothers and the Olympic Games. kind of harking back to an old Gamer Stand podcast I did with Jeremy Evans and John Stone, a Dynasty Warrior title with Sonic and Mario characters.
That would be cool.
You could have this third-party villain colliding these two worlds. These two worlds that never should have touched, the Mario world and the Sonic world, colliding into each other. And you could have all the Mario roster, you could have Sonic's roster, and the villains would jump in too, because their mentality, even both Bowser and Robotnik, is, hey, I'm the one who's going to win. I'm the one who's going to conquer the Mushroom Kingdom. I'm going to be the one who conquers Sonic's world. I'm going to do it. Not this other a-ho who thinks he's going to do it. And I like the adage of the enemy of my enemy is probably my friend.
Okay. So
what would you think of that?
I think it'd be kind of cool because like you would see a lot of characters that you don't think they would. I guess it'd be more surprise. Like what would their abilities be in that world? You know, like what would Princess bring to this? What would Knuckles bring to this, 3D realm of this clashing with the enemies and everything like that?
What's neat with these established characters over decades is, and it's kind of like what they do with their movesets in Smash Brothers, they do wonderful little callbacks to other games of all these movesets or things that are related to. You could have Peach whip out the umbrella from Super Princess Peach as her melee weapon. Bowser could throw fireballs. He could release minions, call out a bunch of Goombas.
Right.
Some of his triangle attacks.
And it'd be interesting too, just to see. I'd be more fascinated how the world would look like.
And going into Musou attacks, when your meter's full in Dynasty Warriors, you hold down circle and it does this area clearing. I would love to see Robotnik hop in his little hovercraft,
right? Whip
out the ball and chain and just massacre hundreds of these enemies.
No, that'd be interesting to see. And I also just like to see just that the enemies, just how they would come in with the enemies. Like you see the Koopas and the robotic enemies just coming together, and it would be really cool to see them being corrupted by each other. Even if I think it'd be cool to see them just clash a little bit. Wouldn't that be kind of cool to you? Like, be kind of cool just to see, like, I think you would have Bowser and Robotnik compete. Who is better? At the same time, we're trying to save the world.
I think it would be a very heartwarming send-off, or just a heartwarming thing for lovers of both these franchises. You look at what Hyrule Warriors did with Zelda. That was a complete, absolute love letter and appreciation for 30 years of Zelda. And I think Nintendo could do that with both, and Sega with their two flagship faces.
Well, they're gonna have to talk to Koei about that.
I think Omega Strike and Koei would definitely do that.
Okay. I still like the traditional 2D style of Sonic and Mario. But I want it where they have to work together. But first things first, what I want is either they make them two separate, but I want them opposite direction. Like I want to see Mario and a Sonic world, like a 2D game, but with Sonic, with Mario going through a Sonic world. Like how would he adapt?
That would be fun.
How would he adapt to that? Like, and then I want to see Sonic and a Mario world, and then we started slowly seeing these guys come together, going through the levels together, going against Bowser and Sonic. They're competing.
Gosh, you could have like a tag team system.
Yeah, that's what I would love. I would love to see that traditional 2D style, just to see how that would work. Because like I always played those Sonic games, but like how would Mario get through this level? Like there's a lot of stuff going on. I know he won't go fast, but like how would he go through the giant loop? How would he go through the spiral helix? It'd be just so interesting to see if they can find a way to make a Mario level for a Sonic. And so, and then I would love to see Robotnik and Bowser work together on trying a way to get
stop them
both at the same time. Bowser believes that he can turn those Koopalings even more powerful. Let's do this, or I can make a ultra, like kind of like a robot Godzilla, but like a Bowser one.
I love to think from Robotnik's point of view. He looks at Bowser's army and he's like, "You have so many people. I can make you this better. I can make improvements. I can help you. We will get, you'll get the plumber. You'll take him out. You get the princess." and I'll get rid of that blue hedgehog.
Right.
Like,
and
high five, bro.
Right. And at the same time, Bowser can play a trick on Robotnik can play a trick on Bowser.
And in the background, yeah, they're both plotting with a knife behind their back. Oh, like, okay, when I'm done with you.
Right. Because the main goal of all this to me is Bowser and Robotnik should be trying to get the Chaos Emeralds.
Yes.
Like, they should get it. And then one of them are fighting over like, okay, I'll help you out get the emeralds, but I'm going to betray you at the end.
And I'm going to
versa.
take the superstar too.
Yeah. So that would be really cool to see that as Mario and Sonic have to suffer and go through all this stuff to stop both
and quickly jumping back to Mario and Sonic, Mario handing Sonic a power up. That would be cool.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
Here's an invincibility star, or here's a fire flower. You have way at, and you do the hold down, charge up a run, and he's just spitting out fireballs.
Right,
and he has this fire aura, and he just runs through all these. That would be amazing.
How awesome would it be though? Like if they were on the same screen, like Mario gets on top of Sonic as he's powering up.
Oh my god!
And then they just run through it, and Mario's just trying to like just hold on, but he's running really fast as Sonic's still rolling. That'd be kind of a cool little tag team style.
Mario flying through the air, Sonic holding on for dear life.
Yeah. So that'd be kind of a cool, like, just they have to work together, that clash, you know.
And see, my idea was very much more of a they would be on next gen systems, but yours, I love yours because it is such a callback to old school, the 2D.
So with that idea though, let's look at like them personally real quick before we wrap this up. What would you like to personally see Bowser be doing in the future Mario games? Just in case our idea does not ever exist, but what do you personally want to see Bowser do next? Do you want to see Bowser to be more like working with Mario again? Do you want to see him clash a little bit more with bigger ideas? Like, what do you want Bowser to be doing more in these Mario games?
Both would be, I think, a risk for Nintendo, but I would like to see another team up game with Mario.
Okay. Like RPG again?
Yeah, a modern RPG would be fun.
Okay. I want to see Bowser do more stuff with his kids. And when I mean with his kids, I don't want it more of here's a world, fight my kid, move on. Like I want the father and kid act. Like when you're at the end of one world, I want to see Bowser and that kid working together to defeat. So it's more like a bonding moment.
Almost a game of, think of it like the game before the Mario game of Bowser infiltrating the Mushroom Kingdom and kidnapping Peach. Like that's the end stage,
right?
Is actually taking Peach.
Yeah. So you want the opposite. You want to see Bowser get the princess at the end.
Yes, and that leads into whatever XX title of Mario.
Right.
Like literally, it is the video game that is before the Super Mario game.
Right.
Or the story before.
Right.
Because the stuff had to add up to that.
Or even heck, if the idea for the future games where I want Bowser and the kids to work together, I would like the Bowser to be locked up. And the kids are like, Dad, you're not doing a good job. We'll take care of from here. They lock up Bowser, and now the kids, along with Bowser Jr., are trying to get the princess now. Yes. And Mario has to go rescue her, but she has to be all these kids, and Bowser just doesn't show up. But I think that would be a really cool thing. Or hell, even it can even be Mario hat out and Luigi takes over. So it's Luigi against all the kids. I don't care. I just want to see more appearance from the kids a little bit more because these kids have been around so much. Man, make these kids a little bit older. Make these kids like come in and do more stuff. I don't want to see them in like Smash Brothers and Kart anymore. I want to see them kind of come back in a cooler, better way. And so, so what about Robotnik? What do we want to see from Robotnik? I want to see more crazy ideas like I learned from CD. I want to see us finding ways to outsmart Robotnik instead of just the traditional hit him on the head. Because Robotnik is smart, so he needs to throw at us to make us think smarter to outbeat him instead of just clash him on the head. Like throwing stuff at us is fine, but I want to be more blown away how I defeat him. And that's the thing later on with the Mario games. The Mario games, you were more blown away how you defeat an enemy than just defeat an enemy. And I think that's even in future games. Like even like I can say like, you know, Uncharted or Tomb Raider or any games, like your goal is how you got there. It's the fun part. Then you just, shoot, duck. But if they throw something at you while you're doing it, and you're like, oh, I'm dodging, I'm moving out of the way. Oh, I got to get through this puzzle and then to hit him again. I want something more rewarding how I defeat him than more of just the traditional hit you on the head, shoot you 3 times, do this. So for Robotnik, how about like next time, I'm about to beat you, throw something at me where I have to go through another course. We're going through a level, so that'd be kind of cool if somehow he just throws another level at your face. You go through the level, then you hit him in the head, throw another level at you, and you hit him on the head again. But that's still a boss fight or something like that. And then my last thing, Robotnik, is I want Robotnik to have henchmen. We talked about Mean Bean Machine. I want him to have a couple of henchmen that will come and bother Sonic. We had Metal Sonic, but Metal Sonic can only go so far. And Knuckles was kind of a henchman per se, but he was more of like
almost something to act like a facilitator, like the Koopa kids are practically lieutenants.
Yeah.
They are practically lieutenants in Bowser's kingdom.
Right. He's the smartest person in the world, and we should not be facing him every single level with a contraption. Maybe every so levels, but let's get some minions in here and just like give me these giant robot epic people. You could build robots, okay, man? Build me a strong robot to fight instead of just Metal Sonic, okay? I don't care if it's a Metal Knuckles. I don't care if it's a Metal Tails, Amy. I don't like Amy, but, just throw more stuff like that at me. So what about you?
I agree.
Oh, okay. I was like, you got me. I agree.
I was like, man, you just hit every bullet point I was getting.
And so, but is there? So out of those 2 characters, though, and we haven't done this in a while, which one did you enjoy more? Are you more of a Robotnik fan or are you more of a Bowser fan? What is your opinion on that?
I'm more of a Bowser fan.
Okay, and why is that?
He's simplistic. He knows what he wants, and he'll do it himself.
So he's just straight to the point.
He's straight to the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to say Bowser too. Robotnik, like he's awesome. Like these 2, it's so tough with those 2 because like they're both really different from each other. So it's hard to put them in the middle. But Bowser, only because Bowser just knows how to bring in a cool way to fight him.
Yes.
And it's just so like I said, he develops as he goes. Like you always get Robotnik with crazy contraptions and stuff, but Bowser just knows he wants you to be more challenged of, like I said, like at the beginning, like, first it was Simple Fire. The next thing you know, you're up in space. Like,
what is it?
What am I doing in space, Bowser? What am I doing in space?
Later games, he turns Super Bowser. He's huge, and he starts chasing you across the screen.
Right.
It's always what I love about Bowser. It's always mono. You guys failed. Bullet Bills failed. F it. I'm gonna do it myself. I'll do it myself. I'll do it live.
And he has gone through all the works. Like Bowser, like Robotnik has not gone through the hardship with Bowser. I mean, Bowser had to work with Mario. Bowser had his own arch enemy, his nemesis, in his stomach. Like Bowser has gone through some stuff. Robotnik has not gone through that much hardship. He just like, dang, I'll get him next time kind of thing. But Robotnik is like, why are these 2 plumbers in my stomach? Like, what's going on in here? Like, what was... So, why am I buying a car to throw stuff at you? Why do I have to grow 10 times bigger to defeat you? This does not make sense to me. Okay, fine. I'll take you to space. Let's fight in space. What do I have to lose? Okay, I made bunnies. What do you want from me? I'm trying here, He's trying everything he can, and you have to give him credit for that and everything like that. But with that, I want to thank everybody who listened to the show.
Yes, thank you very much.
It's great to kind of come into part 2 with this. These 2 are iconic. They're amazing. This was a great episode to talk about a lot of stuff because, there's so much information growing from then to now. I mean, it's 2018. And so with all this history and growing to now, there's just so much more development with these kind of these characters. And, we would love to hear your thoughts and everything like that. But those are not the only rivals that we have. We have Mario and Sonic. We have Princess Peach and Zelda. We have Nathan Drake and Lara Croft. We have
Sam Fisher, Solid Snake.
We have Toad and Moogle. And so, and many more coming. Like this next half of the series is just going to get even crazier because there's a lot of characters you're going to know like that makes sense, and then there's two characters like why would these two rival each other, and then there's two characters like I never thought of those two being rivals.
One I threw out to Jeremy when we were brainstorming. I just had this hankering. I sent him a paragraph like let's do Ellie and Joe from The Last of Us and Eli and Clementine from The Walking Dead.
Right, because why would they rival each other? They're the only two survivors. and
ironically, they both have Joe and Eli have the same. Joel and Lee have the same motivation of I've got to protect this kid.
Right. So that's something we'll be kind of looking into. But like the final episode, I'll give you guys a heads up. The final episode is going to be probably one of the toughest episodes for us because we have to do super research on these two particular characters. I don't want to tell who it is, but they're like one of the top iconic villains. I'll tell you that. And it's still to this day one of the biggest debates in gaming history. And so, like I said, Curtis and I have to get the time, play one of those games, and really sit there and really study and make sure we get all materials because we want to make sure that we give y'all the best episode ever on that and what are really true inputs on this stuff. So with that, we will catch y'all on our next episode. Hi, and thank you so much for taking time to listen to the show that is part of the In-Game Boss program. Remember, you can always visit us on Facebook and Twitter to get up-to-date news about what shows are premiering and whatnot. And also, you can always listen to our shows on iTunes, Podbean, and YouTube. And remember to follow and subscribe, leave a review and a 5-star rating to keep us going. And thank you so much.